Why don't you just stay at your hometown? I don't want to see the face of a parasite who eats money and has no productivity anymore. Sure, don't worry. You won't see me again. What? My name is Ayla. I'm a 41-year-old housewife. I reconnected with my husband, Thomas, at a college reunion, and we started dating, leading to 11 years of marriage. Our daughter, Scarlett, is 9 years old and in the 4th grade. The three of us live in a small apartment. Life is going well, and I am now 4 months pregnant with my second child, a son. I am planning to go back to my hometown to give birth when I enter my 7th month of pregnancy, which is a little early. But there's one problem. Thomas is completely uncooperative with housework and childcare. When I asked him to go to work a little earlier and take out the trash, he said, "Why do I have to be such a disgrace? That's your job as a housewife, isn't it?" Or, when I asked him to help my daughter with her homework, he would say, "You know what? I come home from work tired every day. Unlike you, who just stay at home every day and laugh at the TV. And it's your role as a housewife to take care of the kids instead, isn't it?" I can't ask him to do anything at home because he sarcastically says back to me. That's why, when I go to my hometown for childbirth, I'm planning to take a long vacation and bring Scarlett with me. I am sure that if I am not around, my husband will not take care of Scarlett and will just buy convenience store lunch for himself, because I know that if I leave Scarlett alone with my husband, I will surely put him in a lot of trouble. Moreover, given his nature, I'm sure he would also hurt Scarlett with his sarcastic words, just like he does to me. Even during visits to his parents' house for holidays, he would blatantly declare in front of them, "Seriously, she's useless. I only married her because she wouldn't survive without me," all while laughing. But there was no relief from my in-laws. They joined in belittling me, making the situation unbearable. As I get older, I keep regretting why I ever got together with such a person, but considering Scarlett, I couldn't easily decide to divorce. I grew up in a father-only household. My mother passed away when I was young, and although I'm grateful to my father for raising me single-handedly, I often cried in bed missing my mother. I was very determined not to let Scarlett and my soon-to-be-born child experience the same feelings that I had. I realized this 9 years ago, the day my father passed away and my daughter was born. That day was the turning point. We moved to a new apartment, and I resolved to cherish this family, which had become my only family. Back then, Thomas was still kind, and I wanted to protect the smiles of him and our newborn Scarlett. But as I became busier with housework and childcare, Thomas started to ignore me and stopped smiling at me, as if he lost interest. His behavior gradually turned from sarcasm to mockery, and now it's as if he doesn't see me as a human being. Occasional kind gestures from him made me cling to the hope of his past kindness, and thus 11 years have passed in this state. However, what's going on between Thomas and me shouldn't affect Scarlett. Not wanting to cause her any pain, I endure and continue our life together. Lately, Thomas has been coming home late, and there are many things that make me feel uneasy, but I try to think that as long as he's not cheating, he still cares about our family. Even if he doesn't love me anymore, as long as he loves Scarlett, that's enough for me. My husband, perhaps seeing through my heart, felt assured that no matter what I said or did, he would not initiate divorce, and he would say and do whatever he wanted. Even with such a life, I thought I would continue to persevere and do my best not to be lonely for my children, at least until Scarlett and my unborn child came of age. One day, I found a piece of paper with a line account written on it in Thomas's pants pocket while doing laundry. I had a vague suspicion of his infidelity, but I was shocked and couldn't move for a while when confronted with the reality. "Yeah, I'm home. Welcome home." When Scarlett returned home, I hurriedly put the paper in my apron pocket and went to her. Perhaps it was just a friend's or colleagues from his work. I decided to look into it later and rushed back to my daughter. Today is Scarlett's birthday, and we have promised to make a birthday cake together. I switched my mood and started making the cake with Scarlett in the kitchen. Watching her trying her best with her small hands, I felt cheered up and found myself smiling. I decided to give her all the mother-daughter time I missed out on. That was the moment. It sounded like Thomas had returned from work, throwing his bag in the entrance. I timidly called out to him, sensing his foul mood. "Welcome home. You're early today, aren't you?" "What does it matter if I'm early? Got a problem with that?" No, not at all. It's just unusual, that's all. Oh, I see. Is that your way of getting back at me for the sarcastic comments I always make? You mean, oh, you didn't cheat today, right? No one said anything like that. Huh? Did Dad come home? As I was being confronted by Thomas, Scarlett appeared with whipped cream on her nose. Thomas's icy gaze shifted sharply toward Scarlett. I started to speak to Scarlett, but Thomas's yelling echoed through the house before I could. You don't like it when I come home? Who do you think is feeding a parasite like you? You need to learn to mind your own business before you open your mouth. Thomas, you don't need to say that to Scarlett. Shut up. It's your lousy parenting that's resulted in such a failure. Failure? Are you serious? Of course. You were raised in a single-parent home, so it's no surprise you can't fulfill your duties as a mother properly. Yes, stop it. What? Scarlett, trembling and crying, stood protectively in front of me. Don't say horrible things to Mom. What? Do you know who you're talking back to? Who's earning the money to buy you the food you eat? Who's giving you the money to buy the clothes you wear? Who do you think is making it possible for you to go to school like everyone else? Huh? Answer me. It's... Scarlett crouched down on the spot after being seriously yelled at by her grown-up father. Even then, as Thomas continued to yell at Scarlett, I quickly hugged her and shielded her with my body. Love for Thomas. That was long gone. All I felt was the need to protect my precious child. I glared at Thomas, my eyes filled with hatred. You can say whatever about me, and I don't care if you're cheating. But if you dare hurt her, I'll never forgive you. I was ready to fight back if he raised his hand. I wouldn't back down from protecting my daughter. But my determination seemed to intimidate my husband, as he hesitated, took a few steps back, and, with an annoyed click of his tongue, retreated to the bedroom. I collapsed, my heart racing uncontrollably. Scarlett sobbed in my back. I turned to her and hugged her tightly. Listen, Scarlett, you are neither a parasite nor a failure. You're my precious, beautiful daughter, okay? Don't worry about what your father says. I'll always protect you. But what about you, Mom? Who will protect you? Her words, though casual, pierced deep into my heart. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want someone to protect and help me. But it was embarrassing and frustrating to realize that Scarlett saw me as someone in need of protection. In her eyes, I must have seemed fragile. I always remained silent, no matter what was said or done to me, appearing weak and unreliable. I had been desperately clinging to my broken marriage, not wanting to burden my daughter with the hardships of a single parent like myself, but I was foolish enough to finally realize after all this time that what was truly important to my daughter was not such a thing. What I had been protecting wasn't her happiness, but my own selfish satisfaction. Filled with self-disgust, I wanted to cry, but it wasn't the time for tears. Now that I had this realization, I knew what I had to do. I firmly held Scarlett's shoulders and asked her face to face for the first time. What kind of life makes you feel happy, Scarlett? I asked her. Scarlett blinked her big, teary eyes a few times, bit her lip, and whispered, I am happy with a life where my mom is smiling. So, it's much better if Dad wasn't around. Tears streaming down her face, she buried her face in my chest. I hugged her small body tightly and simply said, I understand. These words were followed by a period of soft crying. The next day came. Perhaps because of what happened yesterday, Thomas left for work early, not wanting to face us. Previously, I would have pretended to be fine with his behavior, hurting inside, but now, it's actually convenient for me. First thing in the morning, I informed Scarlett's school that she would be absent for about a week. We then packed our belongings into cardboard boxes we got from the hardware store right after it opened. There was no need to look for a new place. I had the gift my father left us. After quickly packing, I called the movers, and Scarlett and I headed to our new home, leaving only a filled-out divorce form in the living room. In the taxi to going to new place, I made my final call to Thomas. I hadn't called him since he yelled at me for bothering him at work when Scarlett had a high fever years ago, so I wasn't sure if he would even answer. But after a few rings, he picked up, sounding annoyed. Didn't I tell you not to call me at work? I'm sure I said that before. Yes, you did. But I'm taking Scarlett with me for a hometown childbirth. You know I don't need to hear from you. I really don't care about that. Yes, I know. Knowing and still calling. You're really a useless wife, aren't you? I bet Scarlett looks like you, doesn't she? If she had my genes, she wouldn't be such an annoying little brat, would she? I mean, is it really in my blood? Scarlett and the kid in your belly. I wish they weren't. What? What did you say? Overwhelmed by his tone, I pulled the phone away from my forehead, still creased with frown lines. Unaware of my reaction, Thomas burst into laughter and began talking cheerfully. Well, that's just fine. Why don't you just stay in your hometown? I don't want to see the faces of those parasites who do nothing productive but eat money. Sure, don't worry. You won't see me again. What? Even if you want to see me, Scarlett, or the baby I'm carrying, you won't be able to ever again. What are you talking about? I didn't wait for him to finish and ended the call. We were about to reach our new home, and the future was more important than the past. Arriving at our destination, Scarlett was amazed by the towering skyscrapers. I smiled at her and led her into the tower. The security guards rushed out of the office when they noticed me. Good day, owner. Please take care of us from today. Of course, we'll be at your service. I might have an unwelcome visitor, so please ensure strict security. Understood. Watching our exchange, Scarlett stood there dumbfounded. In the elevator to the top floor, she asked hesitantly, Mom, what is this place? This place was left to me by your grandfather, who died when you were born. Look, do you see it? See all those other buildings that look the same? That one, they all belong to me now. So, you're super rich. In simple terms, yes. So, you have nothing to worry about, okay? Why, yay. I finally felt relieved that I could truly assure my daughter's safety. We reached the top floor, and it was time to start our new life in our new home. A call came from the security office on the first floor. Apparently, an unknown man was causing a scene in the lobby of the tower, calling for me. It was undoubtedly Thomas. I instructed Scarlett to lock the door securely and went down to the first floor. Sure enough, Thomas was there. Hey. What's going on? The management company of the apartment we live in informed me that the rent will be $1,500 this month. I always thought the rent was $500 because you said so, however. They told me they were only giving us a special discount because you were there, and that it was actually $1,500 per month. Of course, the land where that apartment is built is mine. I leased it at a discounted rate in exchange for the reduced rent. Now that I'm gone, it reverts to the original rate. Owning several towers like this, and so much land. I've never heard of this. You're supposed to keep your trump card hidden, Thomas. Didn't you know that? Are you kidding me? This is fraud. I never lied. I just didn't say anything. But more importantly, do something about the $1,500. You can pay it yourself. What? You called me and Scarlett unproductive parasites, right? You must be earning well. There's no way I can pay that. $1,500. Then move out. Don't say that so easily. That apartment has the best location for my office. And now that you and Scarlett are gone, I was planning to start a new life, starting today. Oh, with your affair partner. Shut up. Just talk to the management company and get them to keep the rent at $500 like before. I don't want to. What? I haven't been back to the apartment yet, but you should know, I left the divorce papers on the living room table. We're strangers now, understand? Then I'll demand my share of the assets. The tower, the land, everything. I have a right to half. What a naive man. What? All these towers and the numerous pieces of land were inherited from my father. So what? Inherited property isn't subject to division in a divorce. Understand? Then, I'll reconsider the divorce. Don't joke. I refuse to deal with someone like you again. Wait, let's start this over. Take him out. No. Gala, please. With those words, Thomas was escorted out of the tower. Later, I hired a competent lawyer who handled the stubborn Thomas and finalized the divorce. He didn't want to pay child support, so we sent a legal notice to his workplace to garnish his wages. As a result, the divorce and the mental violence at home became widely known within the company, and my ex-husband was put before the board of directors, received a pay cut, and was demoted from the position of general manager to a plain employee in the general affairs section, which he had worked his way up to. He now lives in a cramped, shared bathroom apartment, working desperately to make ends meet. Of course, I didn't stop there. I also demanded compensation from his mistress, which led to their bitter breakup. Meanwhile, Scarlett and I, free from the source of our troubles, are living more freely than ever. Watching Scarlett laugh and play all day, I only regret not taking this step sooner. This ordeal made me realize what's truly important. From now on, Scarlett, my unborn son, and I plan to live a happy and close-knit life together.